We're going to be working on pardoe's material and labor rate variances, their standard cost variances. They tell us that they make a single product and that their variable manufacturing overhead is assigned based on direct labor hours. And we don't need that data for the material and labor variances. If we were doing the overhead variances, we would. But today we're not going to do those. The company uses a standard costing system, and here's the standard cost for 1 unit. Here's the quantity, and here's the cost per pound and per hour. They multiply that out to get the total standard cost for materials and labor, and we won't need that, but that was nice of them to do that. All right, they produced 3,000 units. They bought 8,000 pounds of material at a certain cost. They tell us that there was no beginning material, but at the end of the month we had 2,000 left over. So they bought 8,000, they had 2,000 left, so the difference must have been used up during the period. So that's a roundabout way of telling us what was used. Then they tell us how many direct labor hours were worked and the rate at which they were paid. And then they tell us manufacturing overhead costs, which we won't use for direct material and direct labor variances. So here are the 4 variances: the material price, the material use, the labor rate, and labor efficiency. So let's start with the material price. What we need is to compare what should have been paid to what was paid. All right, what should have been paid? Well, we should pay $3 a pound, right? Okay. And how many pounds should we pay $3? Well, whatever you bought. All right, we bought 8,000 pounds. So we should have paid 8,000 times 3. What did we pay? Let's see here. They paid 23,000 for those 8,000. All right. So we paid 1,000 less than standard. Okay. So our material price variance is 1,000, and was it favorable or un? You compare what you paid to what you should have paid. That what you paid was less, so that's favorable. All right, let's do the material usage variance. We need to examine what should you have used given how much you made, and what did you use? All right, let's see, what should you have used? You should have used 1.5 pounds for each unit you made. Okay, how many did we make? 3,000 units. So for 3,000 units, I should have used 1.5 pounds. All right, let's multiply that out. So we should have used 4,500 pounds. How many did we use? Well, we bought 8,000. They said there's no beginning. We had 2,000 left. So we did use 6,000 pounds. So the difference here is 1,500 pounds, and that should be expressed in dollars and by multiplying it times the standard rate. So the standard rate per pound was $3. And was this favorable or not? Let's see, we used 6,000 pounds. We should have used 4,500. That's unfavorable. You used more than you were supposed to. Let's do the labor rate variance. The same logic for labor rate, and we use the same logic for labor rate as we do for material price. So what should have been paid and what was paid. So what should have been paid? We should have paid, let's go back up to the standard, $6 an hour. And for every hour that we worked. Well, how many hours were worked? Let's see. 1,600 hours were worked. Okay. We ignore how many should have been worked when we work on rate, because there's a different variance that analyzes whether that's the correct number of hours. All right, so let's multiply that out. Okay, so we should have paid 9,600. What did we pay? We paid $6.50 an hour. Okay, so we've got to multiply that out. Okay, so $6.50 an hour times the number of hours worked, they did pay $10,400. Okay, so the difference is the variance. So the variance is 800. And is it favorable or un? So we paid more than what we should have paid. So that's unfavorable. And then the labor efficiency variance. So here, how long should it have taken? So how long should it have taken? Let's go up here. It should take 0.6 hours for each unit you made. All right. How many units did you make? 3,000. Okay, so let's 0.6. So multiply that out. So it should have taken us 1,800 hours. How long did it take us? 1,600 hours. Okay, so that's 200 hours less than standard, so that's very cool. And we multiply that times the standard rate in order to express it in dollars. So the 200 times the labor rate was 6. And is it favorable or un? You used fewer hours, so that's favorable. So there are your material and labor variances.